Hey, what's up, guys? It's Brandon Stover, and here pretty soon you're going to hear an interview that I had with Austin Dixon, a man who went from frat boy all the way to internet marketing genius. He's done everything from selling lemonade to a travel blog that made him 15 cents to taking that side hustle mindset and escaping his 9 to 5 job and taking himself into a 6-figure marketing business. He also works with some of the top funnel designers around the world who personally work with Russell Brunson and Clickfunnels. Now, maybe you don't know what marketing is, maybe you don't know what funnels are, or anything like that, and that's okay, because Austin helps millennials like you and I who are trying to escape the 9 to 5, who's trying to find something more in their life, and be able to start a business using these things called sales funnels. So if you want to check that out, watch this interview, check out what Austin has to say, and then go check out his Side Hustle University, where his mission is to help 50,000 millennials like you and I to escape that rat race. So the big question is this: how are millennials like you and I, who refuse to accept the American dream template that the schools and our parents have tried to hand down to us, we're looking to escape the rat race? How do we shift our mindset in life to reach success and find our happiness? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brandon Stover, and I'm an entrepreneur who is going from zero to success and sharing every one of my secrets along the way in order to inspire you to defy your odds. Welcome to the Hustle of Happiness podcast. What's up, guys? My name is Brandon Stover, and today we are interviewing Austin Dixon. He is a entrepreneur in Colorado at the moment. He used to live in Washington where I did, but decided to bounce out. He's a really good friend and a mentor of mine. It basically went from being a frat boy in college and then getting his first job and deciding that he hated the 9 to 5 life and the lifestyle it brought with it, and decided to just get on the computer and start to learn all about online business and start a side hustle. So today, that's what I want to talk to you guys about. All right, Austin Dixon, let's do this thing.
Let's do it. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about your backstory and kind of how you went from, your 9 to 5 and doing that to jumping on the computer and deciding that, hey, I'm going to start a business here.
For sure. So like you alluded to, I was a frat boy in college. I was a broke frat boy. Like I said, I probably spent a little bit too much money on Coors Light. But I have always had the entrepreneurial blood running through me. I remember from a young age pulling neighbors' weeds. I remember doing lemonade stands. My senior year of high school, I gathered up all my stuff before college and I sold it on eBay. And so I've always just been fascinated at making money. The fact that you can, turn an idea into a product or a service or sell something you already have, and literally sell it to someone else and get paid for it. So like I said, that entrepreneurial blood has always run through me. As I was graduating college, I kind of ran into a roadblock. I graduated from Pepperdine University, super good school, and I was kind of naive to the fact that I thought it pretty much was going to guarantee me a job, that I had a college degree. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And so when I graduated in, May of 2015, I spent about 3 months, I think it was over 3 months, trying to find a job. I was sending my resume out to places, and unfortunately it just wasn't getting any hits. And so after 3 months, I was kind of in a pickle because my dad at the time was helping me out with rent a little bit. LA was really expensive at the time, and obviously I had no income. So after 3 months, finally got 2 employers to get back to me. One of them, I knew I had no shot in hell to get the job. The other one was through a referral of a guy that I knew from college. So I kind of felt like it was a shoo-in. I wasn't too worried about it, but unfortunately it wasn't for a position that I was necessarily too interested in. So like I said, I had my back against the wall. I ended up accepting that second offer, or the only offer I got, but the second interview, and started my professional career, my post-grad life as an ad operations manager at a digital media company. Now, the company was super cool. I was working with a lot of cool coworkers and whatnot, but I quickly came to find out that first and foremost, I had kind of learned everything in the first 2 months that there was about ad operations. And then second, I learned that I hated the 9 to 5, that I hated having a boss. I hated having to ask for time off for vacation. And I hated only getting paid for the time I was sitting at my desk behind my computer. So that's what really led me to online business and look into online entrepreneurship as the vehicle to get me out of the 9 to 5, because I just felt stuck. I was kind of living for the weekends. I was going out and just kind of, Friday night, Saturday night partying with my friends. And unfortunately, there was a weekend that I kind of made a fool of myself, a little bit embarrassing. And that was the tipping point. That's when I knew that something needed to change. And I knew that online business was the vehicle that was going to get me out of that spot I was in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people kind of get sold when they go to college and, start to go through that, get sold on the American dream that they're going to get a degree, then they get out of college, they get a good job, and then you're set till you're 65, till you retire.
Mm-hmm.
I think what a lot of people find is that they get in there and it's really crappy. You do the same thing every week, and then you live for the weekend, like you were saying, and you repeat that on a cycle, and so eventually you crack and you want to get out of that.
Yep. Yeah. I'm super grateful for my college education and whatnot, but unfortunately, the higher education system fails entrepreneurs. I think doctors, I think lawyers, I think there's a lot of different fields that college works for. And unfortunately for entrepreneur geeks like us, college doesn't serve a purpose these days. There's so many resources and tools out there on the internet, and the online world moves so quickly that it can't be taught from a textbook.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know a little bit about your story, and that you started a small website when you first got out, or when you're starting your side hustle, and you ended up only making 15 cents on that little website. So how does only making 15 cents mean that's not your golden ticket to any sort of freedom sort of drive you in order to start making a bigger business?
For sure, man. Great question. That was the light bulb for me, that first 15 cents. Like you said, I had started a little website. I really enjoyed, when I was in my 9 to 5, I really enjoyed photography. It was kind of a hobby of mine at the time. And I really enjoyed the LA area and kind of traveling around. So what I did is I set up a dinky little WordPress site, and I was posting little blog posts about traveling around LA and like the Southern California area. And what I did is I put Google ads on my site, because that was the only way that I knew at the time. I knew nothing about online business at this point. So I was like, oh, Google's going to pay me to put their ads on my site. Well, might as well. And like you said, I made my first 15 cents. And while that wasn't anything to, jump up and down and scream about, it was really that light bulb of, holy shit, like this works. You can actually make money online. And so I just started diving into it a little deeper. I had seen all of these, people on Instagram that were my age or younger making boatloads of money. And that was what kind of spurred my thought to start a blog. But at the same time, like, I knew that there were other ways. I knew that blogging wasn't the only way you could make money online. So I just kind of made it my mission to figure out this game of online business, figure out how people were making quote unquote passive income, money on autopilot. It's up to that point, it kind of seemed just like a lot of people feel, like a scam. But I started to realize slowly that, like, holy crap, this stuff works. And like, there's plenty of other people doing it. So why can't I be one of them? Why can't I be someone who works from their laptop, who has a location independent job? And so I just set my sights on making that happen.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, obviously you weren't, making a ton of money on this. How do you jump now from doing that into starting another business that is actually going to set you free from your 9 to 5?
Absolutely, man. So yeah, that 15 cents for sure. Like I said, wasn't anything to jump up for joy about, but it showed me that I could make money online. And I knew at that point that it wasn't really scalable and that I needed to find something else that could kind of, jumpstart my income online. So what I did, this was nearing the end of the college year. So I had been in my job probably about 9 months or so. I'm terrible at mental math. 9 months or whatever. Probably actually shorter than that. And I had a buddy who was a year younger than me from back home in Washington, who we had kind of reconnected. We were good high school buddies and whatnot. And he had told me that he was thinking about bypassing the traditional 9 to 5 and that he kind of wanted to go into business for himself. He told me that, he told me that he was doing a little bit of SEO and he was learning search engine optimization at the time. And I was like, wait a second, that's kind of cool, because like I have a fairly complementary skill in web design. I designed a few websites for people in college. And so what we decided to do is we decided to start a digital marketing agency together. Two millennials who, thought that they had it all figured out and they knew social media and the digital world pretty well. But I think that mindset is just like, hey, let's go figure this out. We have skills. Let's go figure it out. And so what we did is I was still working in my job. He was, like I said, nearing graduation. We started the side hustle. We talked about it, and I said, hey, I need to, prove to myself and to us that first and foremost, we can provide a good product and service for clients. And then also that, I told him that you and I work together well. So we got our first client. He was a lawyer in good old Spokane, Washington. And we were literally building them a website, and that was on the side of my 9 to 5 at the time. So I was working nights and I was working mornings to build this website. And it was really my first real experience of making like a good chunk of change online.
Yeah. So, I mean, tell me about, like, obviously now you're putting in a ton of work, you're going to your regular job, but now you're also trying to get clients, you're trying to actually do the service that you told them that you would, produce a website. And this is all outside of your regular job. So, I mean, you're probably now putting in 80 hours a week instead of just the 40. What is that skill? What is that mindset shift that you have to have in order to do that?
Absolutely. It is. It's one of my favorite words in the dictionary. It's grit. I think that entrepreneurs, whether you are first getting started, whether you have been in this game and you're a seasoned vet, you have to have grit, and you have to understand that we as online entrepreneurs have endless amounts of tools and resources in front of us because of the internet. And you have to get gritty to understand what resources and tools you need to reach your goal and build the products and services that you want. And so for me, it was really just a matter of getting gritty, getting my hands dirty, understanding that there were going to be sacrifices I had to make. Telling my friends, no, I can't go out on a Friday or a Saturday night. Right. Waking up a little bit early so that I had an extra 45 minutes before work to work on a website. And so it was really just grit. It was that understanding of like, hey, I need to stop playing by the rules, and I need to figure out a way to fulfill the promise I just made to this client. And unfortunately, that fell outside of the 9 to 5, and I just had to figure it out from there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's a huge part. I think people get this idea that they're not going to have to put in a lot of work up front in the very beginning. They see, you're talking about seeing everybody on Instagram, they're living these awesome lifestyles, and they don't ever see like the behind the scenes where you're spending a ton of time. You're still up till 3 a.m. working on something, and the amount of, hustle that you got to put in to do that.
Totally.
So tell me a little bit about when you decided that side hustle was going to be able to free you from your 9 to 5.
For sure. So luckily I had a little bit of a cushion. Like I said, this was probably about 8 months into my job. Cause it was almost a year after graduation, and I was nearing the end of my apartment lease down in LA, and I had plans to move back home. So I had a little bit of a safety net. I told myself like, hey, if this is the route that I want to take, if I really want to do this online business thing, go move back home with your dad for a bit. Like, no shame. It's 2018. Like this happens. Like, I'm super fortunate that my dad let me move back in, because I know not everyone has that. But I just said, hey, look, like, I don't care what anyone says about this. Like, I'm doing this. And so I had a little bit of a safety net. I didn't have to make, a really full-time income, because now I wasn't gonna have to pay for rent and stuff. But I knew that there was a goal I was trying to get to, and that goal was, just over $3,000 per month. That's what I was making at my 9 to 5 job. And I realized that that really only meant I had to get 1 or 2 web design clients a month to make that goal a reality. At the same time, and kind of looking back on this, it's really funny because, I'm the self-dubbed side hustle king. But it was during that transition kind of gray area of when do I quit my job and starting this digital marketing agency that I ended up starting another business that ended up turning into my first 6-figure business, a 6-figure side hustle. And that agency was an agency dedicated to Snapchat marketing. So now here I am, this freaking 23-year-old. I'm working a 9 to 5. I have 2, marketing companies that I'm trying to figure out. And luckily those 2 agencies, I got to a point where I was like, hey, I'm comfortable with what I'm making here. Let's make this jump and go into online entrepreneurship full time.
Yeah. I mean, you had a job originally, you started a side hustle from that, and then you decided, hey, I'm going to start another side hustle from that side hustle. I mean, yep. What does that mean? Like, what does creating a side hustle in doing that? What does that allow you to do?
For sure. Yeah. I really believe side hustles just allow for kind of a safety net. If you are someone who, like I said, is burnt out at your job, if you're looking to make more money, whatever the reason may be, I really believe that online business is one of the best avenues to get what you want out of life. And a side hustle is that foundational piece that you may need. I think so many people look at entrepreneurship and they, look at the Snapchats and the Facebooks of the world and think that they need to dive head first and build a crazy big product and get all these app users and all this stuff. And unfortunately, that's not the case. When I used to think that was the case. And it was before I understood how to build an internet business. And once I understood that with an internet business, you don't have to take on any VC funding. You can literally bootstrap something that's super cheap, super low risk from the ground up and build it. That was when the switch really flipped for me of like, holy crap, I can do this. There's other people doing it. And it's just a matter of finding the time, making the sacrifices, and literally side hustling to the freedom that I was looking for.
Absolutely. I mean, especially with the internet age, I mean, you can find anything you want like at your fingertips. Just you go on Google and you decide, hey, maybe I want to start drop shipping t-shirts or, something like that. And you can just find courses on it. You can find all kinds of information, and you could start with $15-20, get a site up, and literally do it overnight.
It's amazing to me. It still blows me away each and every day.
Yeah, absolutely. So you actually have a course that you teach on becoming a side hustler and trying to go from, I have no idea what I want to do in order to launching a business, on the side from your job. Tell us a little about what that is.
Absolutely. So Side Hustle University is a membership community of other millennial entrepreneurs who are trying to learn this game of entrepreneurship. It's, one of the biggest things that I've realized in this game of business is that mentorship is like the crux of everything. I truly believe that everyone should be coached and everyone should coach. And on the ladder there, I think a lot of people get bent out of shape of like, oh, well, I'm not super good. I've never coached before. And you need to understand that even if you're, 5 out of 10 on a 5 out of 10, you can coach the 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s of the world in your given expertise, in your niche. And so once again, Side Hustle University, it's a membership community of like-minded millennials who are trying to build a business from the ground up. I know that when I first started, I wasn't really, apt to go ask people questions. And I was naive to the fact that hiring a mentor was a good choice. And so I'm trying to provide a community that's super low barrier to entry for people who want to learn this game of online business. It's something that, once again, mentorship has done so much for me. And so I'm trying to build a community of people who literally just help each other out, a network of people who it's not I'm going to come in here and take a course and then not get taken care of. It's, hey, we're all in this together. How do we make each other better humans and better entrepreneurs as well?
Absolutely. I think that's a huge thing, surrounding yourself with people that are like in a like mindset to you, and basically having that accountability of everyone around you. When people are working towards the same goal as you are, that it becomes a lot easier. It doesn't seem as hard.
Absolutely. Yeah. It makes things all the more real and attainable. I think when you see everyday average people who are actually like crushing it in online business, and even if they're not crushing it, people who are willing to put in the work and sacrifice and learn from other people, it kind of, you have skin in the game, and you're more apt to be involved and participate and work towards your dreams. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of average people out there, and there's a lot of average people who have really big dreams that aren't willing to work towards those. And so if you put people in a group that may be average people, but they're actually willing to work towards it, like that's when amazing stuff starts to happen.
Absolutely. You got to put in the work. When you have that idea, you find that passion, you have to put in the work.
Absolutely. Nothing comes easy.
That's
if it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
That's right. All right, man. Well, thank you for coming on the show and sharing your story and sharing what it means to be a side hustler. Guys, go ahead, go join Austin Side Hustle U. I've gone through it myself. It's an awesome course. He's an awesome guy, teaches a whole lot, and he's just a really funny guy to listen to. So, go out, get started, find your passion, and then just pursue the fuck out of it, because that's really what it's about.
Thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the behind-the-scenes look at our entrepreneur's journey. If you want to get more secrets to becoming an entrepreneur and pursuing your happiness, then visit www.hustleandhappiness.com. Join us again next time, and remember, you are just one decision away from your happiness.